I'm not as dumb as you look. Go ahead, ask me about anything. What is the average flight speed of an unladen swallow? No.
Hello and welcome to Retro Game Connect. I'm Dan Mastriani.
And I'm Arthur, King of the Britons.
Well, if everything goes well, you will be, because we are playing the final Infocom text adventure, Arthur, Quest for Excalibur, on Amiga. Yes, this was unlike most Infocom games. This was actually developed by a contract developer called Challenge, which was founded by Bob Bates, who would go on to create Legend, to kind of keep producing text adventures. So they did eventually also move into point and click. So it's an interesting thing because normally we don't play text adventures just because we make videos. Walls of text aren't super interesting videos, at least that's my impression of it. Nobody's told me different. Nobody told me different in the comments. Hint, hint. But this one is one of their handful of illustrated games, so we'll have some pictures for you to look at, some stuff with some actual visual interest to keep you going. So let's go ahead and start playing now.
Woo! Arthur,
so here we are.
Quest for Excalibur.
Yes.
Or Excalibur if you want to mispronounce it.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah, so
shall
now
I?
we have seen it, so go ahead and start. So no, we don't need to restore a save. We're going to start from the beginning. And turn on your number lock for some reason. Got a nice little opening illustration. Feel free to click or tap whenever you're ready.
Didn't realize that having my number lock on would do anything.
Well, since my computer doesn't actually have a light on the keyboard for the number lock, it shows up as an image instead.
Ah.
I mean, the thing has tons of RGB lights, but apparently they couldn't find anywhere to squeeze in something to tell me whether or not the number lock was on.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
You're shivering in the cold night air of an English churchyard, unsure of the forces that are driving you to the night of destiny. Here among the gravestones are the famous over there. Whoso pulleth out the sword of the stone is rightwise king, born of all England.
You're just gonna rush through the opening narration.
Are we gonna take the time to read it all?
I mean, it's a text adventure. We kind of should read the text.
Okay.
You can read it or I can read it, but give it a little more.
The local chieftain, King Lot, has declared a curfew, and you know that even a boy such as yourself would be thrown in prison should you be caught by his soldiers. Yet you have come anyway, irresistibly drawn by this sword of mystery. Noblemen from far and wide have tried and failed to draw from the sword from the stone. Yet something inside urges you to try. Slowly you approach the sword, driven by some inner force. You clasp your hand around the hilt. The two seem made for one another. You pull, nothing happens. You strain harder, the sword gives a little, and more. I'm guessing I just click.
You click, press the any key, whatever.
You strain harder, the sword gives a little, and then...
Yeah, another... Well, yes, I guess to differentiate things, I'll do Merlin's dialogue. So.
I don't have any orbs for you to ponder.
Hmm.
That's going to be an outdated meme reference by the time this comes out.
Quite possibly.
Okay, so I'm guessing I just click again.
Yeah, so I'll do the dialogue, and you can do the.
Merlin appears before you, and his voice thunders in your ears.
Listen well, Arthur, for now will the mysteries of your childhood be made clear to you. Your true father was Uther Pendragon, High King of England. Your mother was, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Is it Igraine of Cornwall?
I would say Igraine.
Igraine of Cornwall. When you were born, you were given to me to raise and keep safe until such time as England had need of you. To you alone belongs the throne of England, Arthur. But the time is not yet when you may take up this sword. Before you gain your birthright, you must prove yourself a king. To rule England, you must be both wise and chivalrous. To lead her armies, you must be strong and courageous. I believe you have these qualities within you, but you must demonstrate them for all to... Oh, okay. Never mind.
I didn't hit anything.
I guess we hit the time limit. I expect us to be faster readers, which we would be if we were reading silently. But
Merlin disappears as suddenly as he came. In the space where he had been, a torque hangs in midair for a second and then falls to the ground.
So for most part, I'll let you do stuff, but I'm going to say you probably want to pick that up.
Yeah,
that works. You can also just hit take, but go ahead and keep having pick up. I'm sure it'll figure it out.
I wonder if I just type pick up. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Since it was the only thing you could pick up, it just did it automatically. So here's a shortcut. If you want to examine something, you can just type X. Yeah, no. So if you would like to examine the torque, just type X torque. You do want to specify torque because there's lots of things you can examine.
The torque is an open neckband made of twisted metal, and it looks like it's about your size. It ends in 2 knobs, and embedded in one of those knobs is a sliver of crystal that gives off a faint glow.
Yeah, so here's a fun. Yes, you're doing it. That's exactly what I was going to suggest you do.
You gaze intently into the crystal. After a moment, your vision blurs and you become disoriented. It seems you are standing in a darkened cave, gazing into a crystal ball. We out here pondering orbs, y'all.
We are. We're doing it. We're doing the thing.
You look inside the ball, and you see a hazy outline of a hint menu. Merlin comes into the cave and says,
"You can get a hint simply by looking in the crystal, but I know that sometimes you will be tempted to get a hint before you really want or need to. Therefore, you may at any time during your adventure type hints off, and I will make the crystal go dark. This will disallow the seeking of help for the remainder of that session. If you still want a hint now, then look once more into the crystal." But yay! Handy hint system in case we get lost. So
okay.
Here's a quick tip. It mentions that the torque will fit you. That means
I
you can wear it.
kind of figured we should wear it, yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead and do that so you don't lose it. Well, we'll see if that works. I think you want to use wear, but yeah. So Infocom, their interpreter is best in class, but it's not perfect. So here's the first thing we should know. And it mentioned the time of day. I don't know if you got a chance to look at those little kind of illuminated manuscripts that they included with the game. But the first one mentions this time of day and mentioned that it's a time for prayer. Now, we are a pious young lad, and there is a church right there. So, yes.
Church. You walk up the steps into the church. It is a simple one-room building with only a few rough-hewn wooden benches facing an altar. The only exit is to the west.
All you have to do here is pray. So just type pray, and that will complete our
task. As is your nightly duty, you bow your head in silent prayer, and you ask guidance for your quest. You have earned 10 chivalry points.
Huzzah! So now we can head back outside to the west. Huzzah! No, you don't need to tell the... Yeah. You could have just typed W, but sure.
You return to the churchyard. At the foot of the church steps is a large stone with a jeweled sword protruding from it. This church entrance lies to the east. A stone wall encircles the churchyard, but there is an ironwork gate in the wall to your south.
Yeah, you can just tap the keyboard. You need to click.
Down the street, you hear the sound of approaching voices. It sounds like soldiers. Suddenly, you remember you.
Uh-oh, but fortunately, there is a large grave to your west, so just type W.
East.
Yes.
Walk behind the gravestone. The churchyard lies to the east. You hear steps outside the gate and see moonlight glinting off a soldier's helmet. Voice calls out, "Search the church!" You drop to the ground.
So now you can simply wait. There is. Do you have the manual open? I believe there is a shortcut for wait. Was it Z?
Z. Time passes. In the distance, you hear the sound of bells calling the monks to prayer. Gate creaks as it swings open. Peering around the base of the stone, you see a group of soldiers enter the churchyard. 2 of them disappear briefly into the church. They report back to their captain, who gives the all-clear signal to someone waiting outside the gate. Suddenly, the evil King Lot strides through the gate, followed by 4 soldiers wheeling a sturdy cart. There it is, Lot snaps, gesturing angrily at the stone. Load it up, quickly. The soldiers gather around the stone and strain against its massive weight. They tilt it up, then slide the cart beneath it. One of you stay here, Lot commands. Let no one enter until we return in the morning. The rest of you follow me. Lot turns and marches out of the churchyard, followed at a distance by more men pushing the heavy cart. 1 soldier remains behind to guard the gate.
Yeah, just go ahead and keep waiting.
Yeah, seeing as I don't have a crossbow.
No, you do not.
You settle down to a long vigil of waiting. Despite the excitement of the evening, you soon become drowsy and fall asleep. Hours later, you are awakened by the sound of a church bell ringing. A crowd is gathering in the churchyard, and King Lot is standing on the steps of the church. Above his head, he brandishes a jeweled sword that looks exactly like the sword that was embedded in the stone. Do you want to actually do the voices? I know I just went right through it.
That's fine. I'll see if I can.
Here, I'll move it on to the.
Oh, there's some of this. It says something about having the sword. See. They told me to come here at midnight. When I arrived, the stone was surrounded by angels. They told me that Uther's son was dead, and I was to be the new High King. Humbly, I grasped the sword, and lo, it came up into my hand. Suddenly there came a beam of bright light and a rush of wind. Despite its great weight, the stone was miraculously drawn up by the beam, and it disappeared into heaven. 3 days hence, at noon on Christmas Day, I shall be coronated on this very spot. If any man dares to contest my claim, let him come to my hall and challenge me in the traditional manner of knighthood, and I will do battle with him.
At this last pronouncement, the crowd cheers and rushes towards Lot. His guards clear a path for him to the church gate, and he leaves the churchyard in triumph, surrounded by the cheering mob. Soon no one is left nearby, and once again you find yourself alone. You have earned 5 experience points and 2 quest points.
So before we move on, there's some features we can look at. So if you want to hit the F2 key, boom, we have a map. You can actually click on those things to go to rooms that you've been to before. But we don't need to right now. If you hit so F3 and F4 will also give you some useful stuff. So let's take a look at those. So here now we can look at our inventory without using up in action. And I think F4 might give you your score. Check that out now. Yes. And I think F5 will let you see the description of the room you're in without having to use a look command. There you go. So now you can just hit F1 to bring back the picture.
Okay, so now what? Leave churchyard?
Yeah, we can leave the churchyard. So I think it should tell you. Yeah, you can probably just type that, but. Oh, no, I just brought you there. So let me bring up the description again to see where the X's are. Yes, it is south. So just type S.
You walk into the town square. The churchyard lies to the north and the castle to the east. To your south, you see the entrance to the town's only tavern, and the west, the village green. The village idiot is here, idly playing with a dead mouse that lies at his feet. He mumbles, "Beware the invisible knot." I guess that's the voice for that.
Sure, why not?
Should we humor him? Should we inquire?
You can talk for him. I'm going to just for to be safe, I'm going to pull up a fact, but let's see how much we can do on our own. So this is past where I saw tips for it. So
hey, I wrote "talk to idiot" and it worked.
Yes, you can actually
around.
Ask him in his name, I believe. So if you
idiot looks around to make sure no one is watching the two of you, beckoning you to come closer. He whispers in your ear, "I'm not as dumb as you look. Go ahead, ask me about anything." What is the average flight speed of an unladen swallow? No.
Hmm.
What is your name? The idiot looks around to make sure.
I think
Wherever
you
I
actually want
go.
to ask it his name.
Okay, that didn't help.
You gotta. Actually, I think what you can do is hold on. I will show you. Try that.
Idiot.
Hmm.
A lot is a greedy goat. Exposition.
Yeah. Well, you can do. Ask Eddie about himself.
Hi, my name is Floyd. Ducks go quack and geese go honk. Your name's Arthur, but I'm not supposed to know that because I'm an idiot.
That's also that's an Easter egg right there, because Floyd is the name of your robot companion in an earlier Infocom game. So that's fine. Also, you can also ask him about the Invisible Knight. So that the fact I was looking at suggests that. So to ask Floyd about Invisible Knight.
Sometimes it brings me presents, and we'll shred for that. Ask about presents?
Sure, why not? See if it gets you anything. No, okay. You could try asking him about trading. I don't know if there's a. Oh, jeez.
See, this is the thing. I like text adventures in concept, but I think this is why, like, I like D&D better because
you got a human is the problem there.
Well, exactly. Like, you can, so long as you're getting at the gist of the thing you're trying to investigate, you can get there. But
all right. Well, I guess this is. I'm looking at the fact, just just hurry things along, and it looks like this is all we can get out of him right now. But you should say thank you before we go, because that will get you some chivalry points.
patting yourself on the back won't help. The idiot mumbles, "I'm not really an idiot. I'm just extremely stupid." Same.
Thank Floyd. That is the construction it is suggesting.
Smiles brightly and says, "Okay, you have earned 10 chivalry points."
All right. So I guess since we don't want to take too long, Merlin told us to come see him, so he wants us to go west twice. Actually, you know what? Before we do anything, why don't you save your game just to be safe?
How do I do that?
So this is a text adventure, so just type save. I've created a disk, so hit next disk, click on that. Right there. So click back the name and just name it whatever. Sure, now you can just hit enter and it's fine. Or you can click on OK, whatever you like.
Okay, so now we go west.
Yep, so just type W twice.
Enter the village green, which is a common area inside the town's western defenses. The old Roman wall is crumbling into disrepair. Here, there's a gaping hole in the west gate it used to be. Town square lies to the east, the ancient oak and the towering over its roots, and it's an ancient druid over a group of prostrated initiates.
Neat.
East. Outside town gate. You leave the town and pause outside the town gate, which lies to the east. A road leads to the north and southwest as a meadow.
South is that Invisible Knight. This walkthrough is telling us to go ahead and let the guys steal our stuff. So.
All right. Neato. Path leads off to the northeast, northwest, and southeast. You hear the thunder of approaching hooves, but see nothing. Moments later, you feel ghostly fingers pluck at your clothing. Everything you currently study disappears. You hear a ghostly chuckle, and then the hoofbeats recede once again to the west.
So let's I just want to see before we go on. I want to see. Okay, so we didn't lose the torque. You're now outside
Merlin's cave.
Why, hello, Arthur. I was just thinking about you. I wish to help you, but I give you magic spells that instantly fulfill your every desire. You will only prove that any man so favored can accomplish a quest. Instead, I've been pondering the idea.
Pondering orbs.
Allowing you to assume shapes other than your human form.
Well, we skipped a lot.
Yeah.
We're kind of taking a while now, so.
Yeah, okay, so there you go. So you have
Word
to
you'll
type
need
here.
is Sir, the ancient word of transformation. When you wish to become another creature, say Sir in the name of the creature. Remember, however, that people fear sorcery. If someone is present when you change form, he may kill you. Remember also that you cannot move directly from one foreign shape to another. You must become human first.
There you go. That's okay. I think the box here will probably tell us what we can do. So, so now we go north, and there's some useful stuff.
Crystal Cave. Your heart thumps with
Yes.
anticipation as you enter the mysterious cave of which you have heard so much. The walls here seem to shiver with their own light. The ceiling is lost in the darkness overhead. You hear the sound of distant music as if the earth itself were singing, and the chord dies away. And you are left in silence. In the center of the room is a perfectly round crystal ball. On the ground near the wall is a bag.
So we take the bag. And it wants us to look into the crystal ball, so why not? You might even just be able to type ball, but
Look inside the ball and
just,
see the hazy outline of a menu.
It's just showing us the hint menu. Okay. Oh, see, now we got a whole lot more stuff. So from here we can go south. I don't think you can do that. Besides, you don't need the crystal ball because you have the torque.
Do I?
You do.
Oh, I'm wearing it.
Yes. So you didn't lose it because you're wearing it. And that's why you're supposed to wear it.
Okay, so now we.
So yeah, we want to go. We want to head back down to where the invisible knight is. Yeah, it won't let you click directly. I tried. Yes. Oh, he took our magic bag, the jerk. So from outside there, east twice.
We're gonna go talk to the village idiot, right?
We're headed back to the kitchen because we're gonna get that cheese.
Without my bag?
We'll have to get it back later. You can just type S twice, man. You don't need to go to the map. All right, so we gotta wait for the. So it wants you to examine the bird. Interesting. So you want to wait until the cook leaves. So I think you can just type Z to wait. Okay, so no, you don't want to continue waiting. So while he's not here, you turn into an owl. Exciting. Ah.
Oh.
Now you can talk to the bird because you're both birds.
Is it a French bird? Monday. But you are slow. I know you must eat that man because of the way he cooks. In my country, we would have him killed. But he has some spices hidden away in the cupboard. And the key to the cupboard is hidden in that thatch. Quickly now, before the sadist returns, open the cage and I will get the key for you.
So now you want to turn back into a person. So you're human. So now you can open the cage. Ooh. He leaves a small present on the table for the cook. No, he left. Yeah, hurry and grab that key before the cook goes back. So unlock the cupboard. Oh jeez. I don't know if you're gonna have time, but I guess you can try it. Yeah. I guess we'll have to head back south, and we'll have to wait for him to leave again.
On the table, you see a bird dropping.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. Now, hurry up and unlock the cabinet and chivalrously relieve the cook of all the stuff in there.
Oh.
Quick, open it. All right, so get that bottle, get the cheese. I guess the cheese is just out. Since it takes cheese, I don't know. Cool. Okay, so get out of there. Go back into the tavern. You can eat the cheese.
Yay!
And if you,
Woo!
cool. If you listen a few times, some things will happen. Dun dun dun. Uh-oh, he lowered their voices. Okay.
Treason? Wait, can I turn into a goat?
Probably don't want to do it now. Okay, so now that you've done that, you can talk to the smithy. So that's north, east, then south. Indeed. So you want to examine the hole. Well, hey, you know what could fit into a badger tunnel? Super.
A badger.
So it wants you to go down. So I guess just type down. There we go. We're heading down in there.
Then the stone, the wall looks very old. So something.
It wants you to push the stone.
What?
Yeah. Go back north and type push stone. Okay, so now I guess you can go east and then turn back into a human.
So,
Interesting. So you can turn back into a human and
should I do that with him watching?
Apparently, I mean, it's not like he can go anywhere else. Take pity on me, O enchanted one. I am but a humble craftsman who was commissioned by the king to fashion a sword after the enchanted sword in stone. No sooner had I complied with his requests, but he threw me in the dungeon.
I mean...
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I guess you want to ask him about guards. Okay. Ho, so get the stone. So take stone and hide behind door. So now call the guards. Yeah, wait until he comes in and has his back to you. Okay, he's got his back to you. Hit him with the stone.
You step out from behind the cell door and beam the guard with the stone. It puts a dent in his helmet and he slumps to the floor unconscious. As he falls, you notice a key dangling at his side.
Yeah, you also want that helmet. Okay, so I think you want to unlock prisoner. Well, let's see if free prisoner works. There you go.
Thank you, kind sir. Let us escape from here together.
All right, so I think we should escape, and that'll be a good stopping point. So let's see how what we have to do here. So north and east twice. I appreciate, this being a little later game and it actually has NPCs that you can interact with.
It's like a king's secret consultation.
Okay, so what?
You're in a small chamber that looks oddly out of place in this underground prison. Search furnishings include fine stonework floor, comfortable chairs, and a beautifully woven tapestry.
So, do you want to see if you can figure out what to do here? No.
I mean,
no. Come on now, we're not. God, his name flew out of my head. Anyhow, so yeah, tapestry. So what would happen if, say, you moved the tapestry?
Aha!
Aha. So it went to there you go.
You are in a dark underground passageway whose walls have been carved out of solid rock. You peer into the darkness and discover a secret passage leading leading upward to both the north and south. The west is back of the tapestry.
Okay, so let me see which way you want to go. So you want to go north twice. Then wait for the bells, it says.
Passage widens to a small room. Tapestry covers the west wall, and you hear someone talking on the other side of the tapestry. As you're in the great hall. Time passes.
You can just type Z.
What am I missing?
Oh.
Ah!
There you go.
I had to wait long enough.
Yep.
In the distance, you hear the sound of the bells calling amongst the prayer, and King Lot calls out, "The password is verse 3, line 3."
I think this is on the little manuscripts that are included. But there is a poem that goes, "No worthier warrior was before. Lot became lord of all the land, with sword so sharp and shield that shines, proud paladin beyond reproach. He husbands heavy chest of treasure, the envy of every earl and king. His soul is stirred by precious stones and silver, and gleaming gold which daily he doth gather. No king so fair, by maid begot, was ever there than good King Lot." So verse 3,
A
line
doddering
3
old
would be,
man blinded by misguided love. Okay, so now what?
okay, so now we can stop
Waiting?
waiting. So we know our password would have been verse 3, line 3, which I believe was ever there. So now south 4 times. So just type S 4 times. So there's a fire, but hey, we have magic spells, and there's an animal that traditionally is considered as being
Wait, do I
able
have to put the fire out now, or do I go to the next thing and put the fire out?
So here's the thing: you need to be able to pass through fire. So we kind of missed the thing telling us all the animals that we can change into, but one of them is a salamander.
Oh, look.
So if you remember your medieval legends.
Yeah, the salamander is born of fire.
Exactly.
Hence why it's the inspiration for Charizard and Charmander
Yes.
and Charmeleon.
So now since you're a salamander, you can just head on west right through that fire.
Okay, but how do I get the prisoner out?
Hold on. So now you're okay. So now you've made it through the fire, and you can turn back into a human. So you have that. I mentioned there's a barrel, so you can push the barrel to put out the fire.
There we go.
Yeah. So if you'd taken time to examine it and stuff, you'd see it had water in it. So there we go. So now you're in the kitchen.
And
So before you leave, get that stone.
What?
There was a pumice stone. So type get stone. Or sure, take stone, whatever.
Okay. Northwest?
Door. You gotta open the door before you can go northwest. Okay. Then south to the Armory.
Okay.
So just type S.
Well, before I can step to the door, the smith grabs me by the arm and says, "I can't go here. I can't go south. I can't go anywhere else."
You have to not take a look at the inventory here.
I took the helmet. Why don't I have the helmet?
Oh, you must have left it behind when you transformed into something. Oh, you're supposed to put it in the barrel. Well, try going northwest again. Maybe he just doesn't follow you. Well, that is weird then. Well, I don't know. Oops. Whatever, it's fine. We'll
I was
stop
getting
it.
bored with that anyway.
I'm not sure where we screwed up, but we've been doing this for a while, so. So there we are. This was actually only Bob Bates' second game. So,
Yeah, I love the idea of text adventures, but because they are so limited, it I will end up thinking about something way too obtusely and it just doesn't register. Honestly, I think that's one of the reasons I like No Man's Sky is a lot of it is kind of text adventure because you'll go up to like computers and stuff and it'll give you this whole like story, but you don't like see it happen. But then you have very limited interaction with it. It's everything around you that's variable.
so
But
there's only so much a computer can do.
oh, absolutely. I understand the limitations of them. It's just that the limitations that they are forced to have kind of put me off from them. You
Yeah.
know what I
So
mean?
Infocom, you're talking about limitations here, but like Infocom is actually pretty much like the top, where they're pretty much at the top of the field. So if we were playing like a text adventure from a different developer, it would have been like noticeably worse.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
I these are also the kind of things that you tend to like want to sit down and take a lot of time with.
yeah, I think that's part of the
And
problem is that we just didn't have time to sit down and puzzle things out, which is most of the fun.
and also like to this degree, like someone like me, I would have been bored before we got to Merlin. I would have been like, I don't know where the hell I'm going. There's been, I need at least a little something that says, hey, just go that way. Just
I mean,
no.
it does have the hint system. I'm not sure why it refused to give us the hints that we actually needed before we went to the Invisible Knight. But you saw that after we did that, we got much more hints.
Oh, absolutely.
And we
But
didn't necessarily have to do things in the order that the fact told us to, but
but
just it
just
was
the
simpler to do that, just to
but
get somewhere in a hurry.
but even just the fact that it took that long to go through stuff where we were using a FAQ, again, to me, that's what has always put me off from text adventures.
Yeah,
That's
so
also why I have taken to Dungeons and Dragons though, because it's the same setup, just since you're not dealing with a computer, you're dealing with a person. I don't have to say take item. I can just say, yeah, I pick up the item. Done.
I mean, I don't know if that's the best example because, of course, the parser is smart enough to, if you say pick up item, it'll pick up that item.
But like trying to ask the village idiot questions, like there's only certain questions that he has answers
yeah,
to.
I mean, they tried to think of as many things as they could, but they can't think of everything in advance.
Yeah.
So,
which is why I say this, like not blaming it. It's just more that because of how it is, for me, I wouldn't pick up and play this, and I really don't. I don't pick up and play any text adventures because of this. The closest I think, besides No Man's Sky, is I used to play Scribblenauts.
yeah, that's a fun one. I have a couple of those actually, but so here's the thing. One of the things I would say is this is not like a fast-paced game. So it's definitely for someone who wants to sit down and think about things, which is not something we can easily do in our format. So if you're looking for fast-paced stuff, obviously text adventures aren't your thing.
Yeah.
But there is a level of possibility in text adventures that you can't necessarily do in like a different genre of game, just because anything that you can describe in text can happen.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, this was, again, this was like their last text adventure. The company was like shut down by guess who? Activision.
Oh, it's either going to be them or EA.
Yeah. So, not long after this was published. So, This ended up being the last game that came out with them. They were trying to catch up with the times when people just weren't like buying text games anymore, unfortunately. So, like, while Infocom was again like best in class with text adventures, they were becoming less less viable as like a mainstream video game genre. Like, I don't want to, they never really went away, but they became more niche. And it was just, especially after Infocom lost a lot of money trying to get into like the database business, because there's something that ruined a lot of gaming companies in the 80s was the belief that the real money was in business software. And quite a few, more than one company tried to pivot into business software and went from being like a profitable niche publisher to floundering in the shark infested waters of business software. But they ended up getting bought out by Activision, which actually was had rebranded as Mediagenic at the time, which was just a brilliant idea. And I'm being as sarcastic as I possibly can when I say that.
They should just be doing stuff.
But of course, now they got a bunch of stuffed suits overlooking their business.
And when has that ever helped in an artistic industry?
Yeah. A fun part of that story is the guy who thought that Infocom was a good investment ended up getting ousted, like between like seeing the deal in place and it closing. So now Infocom is part of Activision or Mediagenic, and the person who is now in charge of Mediagenic is not the person who thought it was a good idea to buy Infocom.
F in the chat for Infocom.
Exactly. Yeah, that did not work out for them. So they're like, yeah, we want hits, and they're trying to do things like putting in graphics, and it just didn't really recapture the market momentum that they had back in the early to mid '80s. Which is a shame because they were a company that put out like some stone cold classics of the genre. Like Infocom remains like the gold standard of your classic text adventure. And part of it is like they had a really great QA process. Like all their real classics were developed like in the office with lots of people like giving feedback and running it through QA and making sure things weren't too obtuse.
Oh yeah, and I mean, to be fair, like that's probably the most playable text adventure I've played. It's just it's a text adventure, so it's limited.
It's not even like the best from Infocom because it's made in a different part of the country by a different company who didn't get the benefit of quite as much play testing as something made in-house would have been.
So they're like,
I'm not throwing shade at Bob Bates. He made some great games, but this is like his second game. It's totally decent considering the lack of his experience. It could have been way worse. It's not even bad. It's just it's not the best Infocom game, but that's a high bar. So I'm not even throwing shade at Bob Bates by saying it's not the best Infocom game. Because like, oh yeah, he didn't make one of the best ever text adventures.
Yeah.
Geez, what a loser,
But it's certainly an interesting little artifact.
Yeah, so like if I had time to sit down and like figure stuff out myself, I think I'd enjoy it more. But of course, if I also was playing stuff on my own, I'd probably go through one of their pure text games, which were made in the heyday of the company where things were running smooth and they had plenty of time to QA everything.
And also, like, who has time for anything anymore?
Yeah, no, that keeps happening. But it's a shame that I can't recommend buying packs of Infocom games because the money would not go to anyone who was involved with Infocom. It would go to the dumpster fire that is modern day Activision.
Screw Activision.
Yes, they are the worst, and I kind of want them to go out of business because even though the people who would suffer the most are the employees who are innocent,
And
I
they're
feel
already
like
suffering.
I feel like them continuing to be in business would just perpetuate their suffering, and we are better off ripping off the bandage.
Just take
And
Bobby Kotick and a giant block of ice at the ocean and shove
yeah,
during the outgoing tide on a full moon.
shoot them out of a cannon, something. Just
That that's for all you Neep Tide fans out there.
I mean, the most frustrating part of the situation, of course, is that everyone who was actually responsible for the horrible toxic work environment at Activision will glide to safety on their golden parachute.
Yep.
While the company crumbles and all the people who could barely get ahead because of how poorly they were being paid will be scrambling for a new job.
And I'm not going to say on YouTube what I think we should do with those people that are going to just ruin so many people's lives.
Yeah,
And
but hey, they made their money, so they don't care.
See, that's why I think we should do things to them.
They're just numbers on a spreadsheet.
That's why I think we should do things to them. Like blocks of ice in the ocean.
Yeah. It's but if you find a way to play an Infocom game, geez, they were pretty good. And I have nice things to say about the people who actually worked in Infocom. And also about Bates. We will probably see again because I do have some Legend Entertainment games.
And if you ever find Bobby Kotick and you happen to be near the ocean with a giant block of ice.
Goodbye, Bobby. We don't need you anymore. No one's trying to make
We never did.
No. I like the guy that took over Activision after the Mediagenic era was probably not somebody I would be good friends with due to his business ethics, shall we say, but he at least actually saved the company.
But we don't have to get too far into that. People can just watch the Jimquisition.
I'm sure he gets into that. Well, I'm sorry, he prefers they, right?
Yes.
God, I'm doing it bad. I'm doing it bad. Jim gets into that quite often. So people
and people hark on them for it, but like, hey, if there weren't problems in the industry, they wouldn't have to go on about them.
Yeah, Jim would stop yelling about Activision if Activision stopped being terrible. So
we'd stop making fun of them, or at least
yeah. I would like to just not have to be angry because they're like good games that I don't want to give Activision money for, but I still want to play. It's like I'm reconsidering. Like I wanted to play Diablo 2 on the show, but do I want to play Diablo 2 when it's promoting a game that's owned by Activision?
I wanted to stream Spyro the Reignited trilogy, and then I was like, but can I?
Yeah. It's like this one I found on a site that I'm taking at their word that has the authorization to redistribute it. So I didn't actually pay Activision any money for this game, which is why we're playing it.
So Activision, if you're watching, fire Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, no. See, they put him in charge of investigating himself, and he found out that he did nothing wrong.
Okay, so put him in charge of burying himself. Anyway.
Yeah. So back on topic. I actually did like Text Adventures. I played him as a kid. Man, you want frustrating. I played Scott Adams Text Adventures. I have a couple of them for my TI 99 4A. And no, not Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy. Completely different Scott Adams.
Didn't he turn out to be like really
that's why I'm
far
specifying
right?
that it's not the Dilbert guy.
Yeah.
I'm specifying it's not the Dilbert guy for a reason. The guy that actually did the Text Adventures does seem to be the level of religious that makes me a little uncomfortable, but You know what? Hey, if it works for him, it's better than what the Dilbert Scott Adams guy is into. Like, at least actually seems to believe what he's saying, unlike some other. No, let's not get into trouble.
We should just get to the end of the episode at this point.
those games. What I was trying to say is those games were way more frustrating and would kill you constantly. And Infocom games were so much nicer to you. So I don't know if you're at a thrift store and you find the collection they put out or something, or
I did
like an interactive fiction database that happens to have some things you can download.
I did actually like, and last point I'll make about the game, and then we'll wrap it up. Just the mechanic of puzzle solving by morphing into different animals. That's kind of neat. I like that.
Kind of neat. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that was cool.
I could see that having some interesting uses.
I could definitely, we were using the facts, so we didn't get this. But if we were playing it normally, we'd be like, well, what are the animals we can turn into? Oh, you know what? I remember this medieval legend about the salamander being born of fire. I bet it can walk right through.
Funny enough, I did actually remember that. I just didn't remember that we could turn into a salamander.
Well,
as soon as you said salamander,
we accidentally skipped past where Merlin was telling us what we could turn into.
But as soon as you said that, as soon as I was like, oh, right, salamander. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know that's the one to use.
Yeah, there may have been some way to go back over the text so we could scroll that back up, but I didn't remember what it was off the top of my head.
Plus, actually, it might have been in the manual.
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, I looked at the manual, but it was a while ago, and forget things.
But anyway.
Anyhow, if you enjoyed us just chasing after a magic sword that somehow makes us king of England, make sure you give this episode a like. If you want to catch future episodes, and perhaps we're being repressed. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. I've been Dan Mastriani. You can catch me on Twitter at NewTypeCola.
I'm Ian Butterfield. You can find you can find me at Ian G Butterfield. You can find the show at Retro Game CNCT. Facebook.com/Retro Game Connect and RetroGameConnect.tumblr.com. I can also be found over on Twitch.tv/geek_lord_42 doing various live streams. I tend to do a lot of Pokemon shiny hunting though. But if you like the game we play, let us know. If there are any games you'd like us to play, hop down to the comments. Let us know. If we can get our hands on them, we might just play them, or we might just turn into badgers and do something with them.
But most importantly, join us next time on Retro Game Connect.
And even more importantly, I didn't vote for him!